Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Davo from Archon Esports, bringing you a Starcraft 2 1v1 cast today. This time on Daybreak, and this time it is a PVZ. So, in the bottom left-hand corner we have our blue Protoss player, Maki, and in the top right-hand corner we have our red Zerg player, who goes by the name of MFViter, or just Viter. For the rest of this game, he will be known as MFViter. He'll be known as Viter. God, my brain is deteriorating at the speed of sound. So it is Maki versus Viter. Excellent. And Viter actually gave a little bit of love right there to Maki. So it's always good to know that players love each other so much. And one thing that Protoss players do love is Farsum. Yeah! Expanding onto the low ground just like that. Especially against Zerg players, because it allows them to get a nice and early expansion and do all the things that they love to do. Such as go Stargates, which is a tactic that I've seen quite a lot of recently. And it works. It does work. So there we are. Overlord pining its way across the map, nice and slowly right there from Viter. I mean, he's in no hurry. He doesn't even have the upgrade yet. And there we go. The drones and probe do pass each other on the way to the bases. So let's get the production menu up and see what is going on. Right, so Maki does actually have a forge down straight away. And basically, that means that he'll probably be doing a much safer expand than usual, as cannon rushing doesn't usually work all that well against Zerg players, mainly because you can't get the appropriate range that you need, because you can't build on creep. That is the issue with cannon rushing against Zerg players as a Protoss. But one thing that you can do as a Protoss to really bug a Zerg player is try and block their natural expansion, which I thought for a second there Maki was actually going to try and do, but no, he was just having a scout around seeing if the expansion was actually there in the first place, which of course it is not, but I expect we will see it. Boom, right now as the 300 minerals ready to go. Awesome, so the spawning pool is almost finishing as well. And it's a very modest timed spawning pool. We will have Maki grabbing that expansion right now as well. Even though he knows the spawning pool is on the way, he's grabbing his expansion before going cannons. But that's absolutely fine. He does have enough minerals to get a cannon. But can I just quickly say that he is not producing probes at the moment. So that's something that he will want to think about. He is going to be behind in the probe count. Well, he's not at the moment. Obviously, Viter hasn't been making too many drones. But then again, Protoss and Zerg and Terran, well, Protoss and Terran work very differently in regards to building drones. So I guess I shouldn't have really even tried to compare them like that. I am a moron. Yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. And it does look like this photon cannon would have got his first kill, but nope, that drone wants to live and has decided to go home. Meanwhile, there is an Overlord in the back of the base, being careful not to be sucked into this extraction fan right here, which has been seen. Yep, it has been seen by Maki, so he is aware of the Overlord shenanigans that is going on. And putting down 2 gas straight away, and in a best guess, that would probably mean that he's just going to go straight into a robo, or something like that. Yes, sir. Here we have the cybernetics core going down, which of course is a very important building to have. As any Protoss would know, you basically can't win the game without warp gate research. I mean, if you can, then you're probably in Bronze League, and that's just that, because Bronze Leaguers don't play by the normal rules. Let's put it like that. Awesome. So there we are, and a small transfer for Viter right now. If we look back at the unit tabs, yes, so Viter does have a few more workers now. He's got roughly 3 more workers than Maki at the moment, but that's absolutely fine. It is down to the distinction of when they should produce drones. Can I just like to point out though that Viter can see quite a lot of the map. Really, I mean, he really does have some pretty good visual kind of references of what is going on all around the map. He'll know if his opponent has moved out at this point in time, and that is exactly where you want to be. Zerg players do also like to take this nice and quick third, especially if a Protoss opponent like this blocks in. because it just gives them room to maneuver, and therefore they can just put down the third base without feeling massively obstructed or like they're going to lose simply from doing this. But then again, quite a lot of Zerg players do like to Baneling bust this kind of thing as well. Oh wow, we have 2 Stargates coming down on the way, so it doesn't look like we're going to see some Void Ray play. And as I said earlier, Void Rays are very, very, very good units. Everyone knows that. Day 9 even calls them Skill Rays. But Void Rays are very good against Zerg, especially a Zerg player who doesn't know they're coming. Unfortunately for Vita, he does not actually know that they are coming currently. Even though he is building an evolution chamber, so he will be able to get spore crawlers eventually, it might not be enough. I mean, 1-on-1 Queen and Void Ray, the Queen will win, but if the Void Ray is charged up, that Queen is going to die very, very quickly indeed. Meanwhile, we do have what is known as a macro hatch coming down for Vita right now, so it looks like we might actually see some Zergling play even. Of course we're going to see Zerg play, because it is a Zerg player. Yes, it is. And here we go. Wow, a fleet beacon going down as well. So I'm going to be really, really interested to see what Maki is actually doing right now. I mean, I'm going to presume that this is all hidden from Vita as well, that he doesn't know that his opponent is getting a fleet beacon. But I'm sure that that illusion is about to be ruined as he sees a Stargate. And is he going to... There's the fleet beacon. So what are we going to see? What are we going to see out of this fleet beacon? Carriers, mothership, or maybe he is just being very humble and getting the upgrade for the Phoenix, so they have much increased range, and well, it makes them very, very effective against Mutalisks. No, we're going to see carriers. Wow, that's so cool. Can't believe there are carriers in this game. Oh yeah, baby, carriers and Void Rays, man. What a great idea by Maki. Interesting fact about carriers, actually, they are the highest DPS dealing unit in the game, but they are so dang slow, they become like, well, they're an easy target, quite frankly. And there we are, Vita reacting very nicely and putting down spore crawlers throughout his bases, which is, of course, a very, very good idea indeed. He isn't actually protected from the front with any spore crawlers at all, and that leaves his natural expansion to be kind of exposed, I suppose. You know, I don't know. We also have the Graviton Catapult coming down, and for those of you who don't know what the Graviton Catapult is, it basically makes the interceptors come out of the carrier very, very, very quickly indeed, and it makes carriers just, well, worth it, quite frankly. So that's pretty cool as well, and I'm just sort of amazed that we're seeing carriers at all. It's just a move that you don't usually expect from Protoss players. It's generally accepted that carriers aren't the best units in the game by any stretch of the imagination. He maybe would have been far better off just going for mass Void Rays because, well, quite frankly, they're an easy win because Void Rays are very, very good indeed. Oh, it does look like this Void Ray might get taken out though by the Spore Crawler. Just lucky enough to micro away in time, and another carrier on the way for Maki right now. And I mean, if he manages to get his carriers up, then, well, Vita is going to be in some trouble. I will just go ahead and say that right now. The Warp Gate research only halfway done, but who needs that when you've got carriers on the field? Carriers have arrived. Or at least that is the idea, and quite rightly we do have Hydralisks on the field, and these guys are pretty much the SAS versus air of Starcraft 2, apart from maybe Marines. They're very, very good units, apart from the fact they are very, very slow off creep. Like, very slow off creep. See, I mean, this is quite punishing, actually. I mean, they're not as slow as your Queens or your Infestors, but still, they're not super duper manageable, but they look really, really cool. They're actually pretty scary. And here we go, it does look like they will be shooting those tiny little spines, I'm sure you can see, into these destructible debris, and there we are. Now, I would be kind of worried if I was Maki, because as I have said previously, carriers are not the best units in the game by any stretch of the imagination, but if he gets the third one out here, then he should be okay. More Hydralisks are arriving, and this could look like a pretty dangerous situation to be in for Maki. I don't know, man. I mean, I've got such little experience with commentating games with carriers, and I don't really know what to expect. I just know that carriers aren't the best units in the world against compositions such as this. But oh, Zealots are, though. And I mean, the Zealots are a nice core unit, and they'll complement the carrier mix very, very nicely, especially if there's some good force fields there as well. And here we go, the Graviton Catapult coming into action. Interceptors flying everywhere. And, ooh, I don't think the ooh. Okay, so we do have the Hydralisks just shooting the crap out of everything right now. And I mean, this is pretty painful for Vita right now. But I mean, genuinely, I just don't actually think the carriers are that effective. I fail to believe it. I mean, they're having to attack, and as soon as the Hydralisks come near, they are pulling straight back, straight again. And there we go, the Cybernetics core does go down in a whirlwind of fire and blue flames. Ouch. And another carrier coming out right now. So, oh, and a third Stargate too. So it does actually look like the Air Armada of Maki will be safe for another day. One thing that possibly won't be safe is his expansion. Also, there is quite a lot more Hydralisks on the way coming down here. And these carriers are exposing themselves a little bit by coming out and shooting all this stuff. But I mean, they do have, I believe they have air weapons +1. And wow, just look at the amount of DPS the carriers actually do. I mean, single target DPS, they are absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, one carrier goes down there for Maki. I mean, unfortunately for him, it does anyway. And we just have Vita just constantly pumping Marines and Hydralisks out here. Carriers, they're just not a very cost-effective unit either, in my opinion, my humblest of opinion. And there we go, we do have a rather large run by right now. 1+ weapons finished for our Protoss air units at the moment. And here we go, more carriers just helping to defend whatever they can against this Zerg run by. And man, Vita must be kind of scratching his head at this point in time going, well, I've got loads of Hydralisks and they're very, very good against air units just in general, but I mean, these carriers do so much DPS, and kind of aided with the Zealots there, it's such a funny composition. I've never seen it before, really. I mean, obviously I need to watch more replays, but there we go. Because it just forces the Hydralisks to run away while the Zealots absolutely kill stuff. And the carriers really, really go for it too, because the carriers have such a long range. And it does actually look like Maki is going to... No, Maki is not going to push on this right now, but I mean, look, he's even got loads of money. Both players have quite a lot of money, actually. And this reasonably large Zerg army from Vita just looks like it doesn't particularly know what to do at the moment. Maki, though, I would say is doing a very, very good job of getting this expansion up and defending it correctly as well. Also bringing his mineral levels down too. And getting more carriers, of course, which is never a bad idea. He could perhaps go for the next weapon upgrade, but does he have a cybernetics core? But it doesn't look like he's got a cybernetics core anymore, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he hasn't built that many stalkers. He's only got the one. I think, you know, with 7 kills, that stalker has been on the field for quite a while. It doesn't actually look... There we go. We do have a cybernetics core going down right there in the natural expansion of Maki right now. I was beginning to wonder if we were going to see a cybernetics core. Okay, so this strong looking Protoss army with the 1-2 upgrades as well, 1 armor, 2 weapons upgrades, looks like it is just standing over the top of this Zerg army right here. If we look at the army tab, we do have more army in minerals than Maki does for our Zerg player, but I mean, this looks so much more intimidating. The carriers, the zealots, everything like that. It just looks so much more intimidating. And nearly bringing it up even as well. And carriers are just so underused. You just don't see them all that often. Now we're getting some Void Rays out as nice support craft as well. Meanwhile, Vita has actually been taking his 4th and 5th bases as well. Maki has actually just gone and plopped some... assimilators right there, just to try and mine a little bit more gas, I think. But holy hell. So here we go. It does look like this army is going to move out from Maki right now and go and attack this Zerg ball. Oh, Corruptor's on the field. Corruptor's a very, very good unit versus most air units, just universally, really. Guardian Shield's going down also. And are we going to see these Hydralisks disappear? Or are we going to see the carriers disappear? That is the question. Oh, man. And it looks like the Hydralisks have just completely disappeared. That Zerg army just absolutely evaporating underneath the carriers' raw might. Which is just something that you don't really expect to see, if I'm honest. Or at least personally, I don't expect to see. And there we go, that Roach does look like he's going to get cleaned up. Unfortunately for him, he will not be able to go back to his little roachy wife and family. See, there's the wife. There she is. Come on, baby, don't be scared. There we are. Anyway, that's the roachy family for you. And Corruptors, lots of Corruptors coming out for MFViter right now. MFViter even. And wow. Really? A Templar Archives coming down for Maki as well. So we will perhaps either see Archons. Ooh, maybe we could see an Archon toilet. That would be really fun. We might see Archons, High Templar, or Dark Templar, depending on which way he wants to go with this. I mean, he will have to build a Dark Templar Archives or a Dark Shrine even, if he wants to go Dark Templar. Just putting it out there. Also getting air weapons +2 is very, very important, seeing as Maki's air army is pretty much the only army he has in the ways of raw firepower at the moment. We also have a Nexus just landing down here as well, and that will definitely help Maki. But I mean, income wise, if we look at the income tab right now, we can see that our Zerg player is on more income, and that is to be well, that lies with him being on 5 bases. So here we do have Maki putting down his 5th base right now as well. And a big, big army right there for Vita. And you know what? I think High Templar might be a really good way to go with this. I really can see it being a good way to go. And air weapons level 3 coming down for Maki. And that's something that you don't usually see, I'll just point out. I mean, stuff gets absolutely mangled with air weapons +3 and carriers involved. We also have High Templar on the field right now with Psystorm coming very, very soon indeed. And this will be scouted by Vita. But nope, they are going to be made straight into Archons for the time being. Just look how quickly those Zerglings absolutely evaporate underneath those carriers. It's unbelievable, seeing as the Zealots are there as well. Maki really staying on top of his upgrades right now. Really, really playing quite well, actually. And this Zerg army looks, well, I'd be a little bit worried if I was a member of said Zerg army at the moment. I mean, Maki could afford to make a mothership given a little bit more gas, but will he do it? I'm not sure we will see a mothership. I really hope we do. That'd be all sorts of fun. But we do have another expansion right here from Vita, who is expanding all over the place, quite frankly, as Zergs like to do, but he just has very, very little ground units indeed. And now this many Corruptors could be the downfall of Maki's air armada, but they decide to pull out because I think it's a little bit too much for them. And you can hardly blame them. Oh, that Archon just failing to get a shot off there, unfortunately for him. And I mean, Maki is looking pretty damn good at the moment. Let's put it like that. He's looking good. Maki is looking good. I mean, that's a lot of Corruptors though from Vita, so Maki will have to be aware of how many Corruptors his opponent has. The Corruptors do tend to group up, and there's a lot of Archons on the field as well. And let's just see what happens. And that looks like it could be the end for Vita. His entire army completely eradicated right there by a mixture of really, really strong air units and good force fields from Maki. Also, his air weapons +3 is about to finish, which will affect all of the interceptors and of course Void Rays. So it's a pretty bad time to be a Zerg unit at the moment, or at least that is what I would say. Anyway, I mean, these carriers are quite simply going to town. Meanwhile, Vita does actually GG, but I was about to say, how do you deal with carriers? Well, hardly anyone gets carriers for a start, unfortunately. That's Maki's first time today going carriers. And it does work. They're fucking overpowered. Well, they're getting removed from the game because nobody uses them, unfortunately. But hey ho. Oh no, we've got some rage here coming down from Vita. Fuck the... I can only presume that it's this game. And Vita has left the game, unfortunately. Alright guys, well, thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day, and I will talk to you guys next time. And I really like the carrier play coming down there from Maki. Nice one, Maki. You the man. See you later, guys. Bye!